Good evening, my friends. This is Paul. I apologize for the lack of video footage, but I was having some technical difficulties. Ta-da! Those technical difficulties are now resolved, thanks to there being a demo of New Super Lucky's Tale on the Switch eShop, which really helps, because I do not like doing reviews without footage nowadays. So, this is not going to be a re-review that I usually do when I start out by filming something without footage and then later have capture card abilities, because I literally filmed myself reviewing this yesterday, and I don't want to do it just another day in advance. I usually space them out a lot more. But I do want to add a couple of additional factors into my thoughts for New Super Lucky's Tale based on a little bit of post-video research that I did after I finished filming my version. So it turns out that I'm actually kind of one of the more negative reviewers on YouTube. A lot of people like New Super Lucky's Tale a lot more than I did. Also, I heard that when the original Super Lucky's Tale was being reviewed, it was often unfairly compared to Super Mario Odyssey because that game came out the same year. What's weird, though, is that it didn't cross my mind that this was comparable to Mario Odyssey because that game was more sandboxy, semi-open world, whereas this style, I would say, is more akin to, say, Super Mario 3D Land or Super Mario Galaxy, due to the fact that the original Super Lucky's Tale didn't have a fully rotatable camera, and so the level design was very restrictive. I actually did see footage of what the Xbox One version looked like, and oh man, it looks like a pretty awful tech demo in comparison to this. This is by far the definitive version of the game, and while I heard that the graphics weren't as good, I'm afraid I'm going to have to respectfully disagree. This looks light years better than the Xbox One version, and when a Switch version outplays an Xbox console, that's a sign that either the original studio didn't have enough funds or the Switch is just really good at drawing in ports. Well, this isn't exactly a port. From what I've seen, it's pretty much a radically new experience, and after I saw it for myself, I'm doubly going to confirm that. Like, yeah, you're pretty much picking up an entirely new game. The one thing that you're missing is that apparently the hub worlds are a lot bigger, whereas now they're more of like get to the point, but to be honest, hub worlds are really just ways of getting to the level, so you don't really need to take them too seriously. So that's going to do it on my extended thoughts for New Super Lucky's Tale. If there's anything I didn't address, you can just let me know in the comments and I'll respond to them if I can. But for the rest of this video, I just want to use this as a segue into talking about the Nintendo Direct Mini, because I don't really have a lot to say about it, and I figured that probably doesn't warrant a whole video, so I'll just do it here. So there were 3 announcements that really caught my attention over all of them. There were a few that I thought were okay, a few where I said, other people are happy about it, so I'll be happy, but it doesn't personally interest me, like the fact that, BioShock is coming to the Switch. That's nice, but I'm just not a fan of shooters, so that didn't interest me personally. Animal Crossing gets an update. That was like, okay, I knew that was coming, but nice to have it confirmed. So the 3 big things for me were when Ring Fit Adventure got a rhythm minigame in it, which is now doubling my enthusiasm to get it. It's just stupid expensive. You can't rent it from GameFly because you need the ring con and the leg strap. And I've been wanting a Nintendo rhythm game for a really long time. I would say that after playing DDR a lot, and there was actually Dance Dance Revolution Mario Mix on the GameCube, I thought, why don't they expand it to a whole bunch of Nintendo games? And this looks like a cool first step in the right direction. Although I never would have expected them to go this route. That definitely took me a little bit off guard. I thought it was cool that the first song that they showed to showcase this new mode was Jump Up Superstar. What? That's like so self-aware in the best way possible, and I wonder if Nintendo possibly foresaw that. Who knows? Even Breath of the Wild is getting songs. I'm not disappointed, that's my favorite video game, but definitely wasn't the first game on my mind in terms of like what Zelda game would be good for rhythm. I would have thought Cadence of Hyrule would have made a slightly better pick, but I digress. Maybe Nintendo can pull it off. They also showed more information on Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, which I've been cautiously optimistic about for a while. I know I never reviewed Xenoblade Chronicles on the Wii or the 3DS, but that's not for lack of trying. The original game, because it was on the Wii, needed a lot of the TV, and that was just really hard because I didn't have much access to the TV. And then when it came on the 3DS, I thought, oh good, I can play it wherever I want. But then some of the game's heavy grinding elements near the end made it a bit of a chore, especially when the reviewers said you didn't need to grind as much, but apparently my best friend said otherwise. So even though the definitive edition hasn't addressed most of the main concerns I had with the new 3DS edition, at least the game looks prettier, has a couple of remixes to the music, and the menus look a heck of a lot better. It was a real pain to traverse through all the clothing and armor and weapon options in the original games, and now it looks like they've actually improved the entire UI, and they added a new epilogue, which is nice because I never beat the original game, so it'll give me an extra incentive to have an extended ending to what my best friend did. And hopefully I'll forget most of what he told me so that I can go in semi-blind, although I'm not going to forget the big twist, so oh well. And then finally they said that the next character in the Fighters Pass Volume 2 for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate was going to be a fighter from ARMS. This was definitely a pretty bizarre choice, but definitely not unexpected. I feel like Nintendo probably would have had an ARMS rep sooner had the game done a little bit better financially, but I digress. The reason why I say it's weird is not because I dislike ARMS. I think it's a pretty cool idea that I just don't see doing for the long term. But what's interesting about it is that we already have spirit battles representing ARMS characters, plus a Springman Assist trophy, and 2 Mii Fighter costumes that are based on ARMS characters. So if the Fighters Pass is going by the pattern of previous DLC fighters, then we're going to see more ARMS spirit battles, and possibly if Springman gets in, then this will be the first time that an assist trophy also makes its way in as a fighter. So that's going to be really interesting. Of course, they didn't say who it would be, but they showed up the roster of characters, and almost as if they're saying these are the choices, but it's up to you to figure out which one it's going to be. So I thought that has potential. You know, the ARMS arenas looked pretty cool. It's another fighting game making its way into a fighting game. And ARMS had really great music, so I'd be happy to see how many more tracks are going to make their way into Smash. And since I love cataloging spirit battles, that'll give me an excuse to maybe make the existing ARMS battles into their own category. And so that'll, get me thinking some more. So my compartmentalized brain is happy. Overall, I'm really glad that the Nintendo Direct seemed to appeal to a lot of people. It didn't answer everything. Like, I'm sure Arlo's going to bring up the fact that Pikmin 4 and Metroid Prime 4 weren't even mentioned, and neither was Breath of the Wild 2. But honestly, given all that's happened, and the fact that Nintendo actually had to have a notice at the start of the Direct, basically apologizing for any delays, I think we should be happy that we got anything at all, because I was kind of thinking that Nintendo would maybe be a bit quieter, and it turns out they weren't. They were actually willing to give us information despite the troubled times, so yay for them. I just hope that doesn't come to bite them later in case they overworked themselves. With that, I think I've rambled on long enough. Don't want to make this go over 10 minutes, because that's just ridiculous. So, thank you very much for watching. I hope you'll watch this in conjunction with my new Super Lucky's Tale review so you can get a fuller picture of the game. Until the next time, keep the faith, stay epic, God bless, and can't wait for the big Nintendo Direct coming. Bye!